So we are here with Toby Belson at this moment in time, and you have been one of the main instigators, helpers, facilitators in getting the artwork out.
Mm-hmm.
So what have you been doing for the last, say, 6 weeks or so since the Grenfell tragedy?
The last 6 weeks. Yeah, well, the last 6 weeks have been just kind of on a completely different level, really. I mean, it's something that us in the community, we've been working with for a while in terms of our campaigns. A lot of my artwork has been around campaigns. It's been designing flyers, posters, banners, websites, web pages, Facebook images, all of these social media images, all of these sorts of things, really. So a lot of my work has really been focused around that. You know, I'm a community artist, basically, and whatever that means, which is responding to the community, for the community, in a multitude of ways, enabling them to be creative, trying to get the community's voice out there through arts, and so obviously with something that's happened, like as what's happened with Grenfell, that's just, I mean, it just dominates. There's nothing else for me. You know, my community arts and development is my day job. That's how I make my living. You know, what living I make. That's my full focus. You know, my family will tell you that's you know, too often I go home with it, and you know, and it's there with them on the couch. But that's it. And so Grenfell now, you know, that's my life now. My life is Grenfell. My life is green. My life is just, you know, 6 weeks of just total dreaming about, you know, I mean, I know a lot of people, you know, have these terrible images, these dreams of all sorts, just terrible things. At the moment, I'm blessed that I don't have those. I did not see the fire. I did not race down in the middle of the night and see that, and I kind of, you know, I feel thankful actually for that, because that's an image I'm sure that will never ever leave people. But what I do have going around my mind is just again the campaigns, the organisation that we have to do, the issues that are out there. You know, just every day and every night is a dream about what we in the community need to do to heal and to move forward.
So what messages have you guys been putting out there?
Obviously, I think one of the main messages has been justice. It's been about, you know, justice for Grenfell. I think on a creative, like on an image level, I think one of the main images really that's out there, I mean, probably the main image is the hearts. You know, on all sorts of levels, whether that's through our Green for Grenfell campaign, or whether that's through Grenfell Speaks. Those hearts are out there, 24 Hearts, of course, with that amazing project they do down at Maxilla Gardens. On all these different levels, these hearts are happening, and the fact that obviously that's about love, and that really this community has held itself together under incredible strain through love. It hasn't, you know, you can call it other things, but really in the end it comes down to love. It comes down to love for ourselves, love for one another, and I think that's love for your community, and I think that's just being shown. And so I think really, you know, that's like probably the biggest thing that's really been going out there.
One of the campaigns that you are currently involved in is Green for Grenfell.
Yes.
So tell us a bit about that, how that has come about and where it actually is.
Man, Green for Grenfell is just deep. I mean, let's look at it, we can look at it in different ways, right? So Grenfell, the etymology of the word Grenfell, from the Anglo-Saxon, is green field. Now, man, a man can run with that concept for a long time. coming from North Kensington, coming from a space that many of us kind of consider to be, in some senses,
Brown.
a modern, well, brown, no, but a modern, yeah, brown, well, Brown Town and all that, Colville. But for many of us who might consider this area to be like a modern day plantation of a sort, you know, in the sense that those in the south of the borough very much take an enormous amount of wealth from the north, and those in the north are traditionally impoverished in one way or another. So yeah, the whole thing of Greenfield is really strong. Yeah, I just think that coming through that, and then the way that basically Green was there you go, look, there's a guy with a green t-shirt on a green bike. He's just arrived outside the door. Yeah, Green for Grenfell initially came about in the first few days after the fire, where the local primary schools began a hashtag and were releasing green balloons and were dressing in green.
Oh wow.
We're talking about schools who have lost young people. We're talking about empty chairs, young children having to wonder where their friends are. Many of the schools lost at least 1 or 2 children. And for those people who know the schools around here, you know, we have amazing schools filled with amazing children. So, you know, that's a big loss. That's a heavy, heavy loss. And so that response from them was just, you know, I just think that was magical, really.
Yeah.
And to start something like that. And so then when it came to kind of coming to Carnival, and this idea that suddenly 1 million people are going to be coming into this area where we are all super sensitive and still very much grieving, and still on a, as I've said, on a daily basis, really just dealing with just these. It's like almost like the emergency hasn't stopped. Just so many of us are still just really still trying to deal with all sorts of things at such different, you know, extreme levels. There needed to be something that would bring some sense of solidarity, togetherness and calm upon Carnival. You can't have just 1 million people coming in just thinking that this is just a party and that's it, and you know, because there'll be lots of people who won't feel like that, who are close enough, but there will be plenty of people who won't really think twice, especially after they've had a couple of drinks or whatever else they decide to, you know, do. It will just leave their minds. And so it seemed absolutely appropriate that green would kind of descend upon the area as a, you know, as a calming colour, as a colour of growth and renewal and kind of spiritual, kind of like spiritually refreshing colour, something like that, just to just bring people together, and so that everyone in the area as well in the community knows that people care, and people are thinking about us, and people are thinking about those families, and people are following the community. Really follow, because as well you've got not just the people coming in, you've got all the media, and the fact that, you know, some of the media, you know, bar the Evening Standard, but we won't go there right now, have actually taken this. The BBC, Sky, Channel 4, you know, the BBC radio stations, some of the Associated Press, these people. Again, it's showing our community that actually there are people that do care.
Yeah.
You know, and
it's not just us here.
Yeah, exactly. And for Carnival as well, that's massive. For an event that gets such negative, relentless, negative press, to actually switch that around, at least for once, you know, is hopefully setting a precedent that we can kind of roll into, you know. So
it's something where people know they can move forward as well, when you see that there's a lot of solidarity amongst the whole, or not the whole nation, because it's only 1 million people, but there's a lot of people that it will give people hope for the future.
Yeah, I hope so. Really, I do. I hope so. I hope it helps people understand that things can be done as well on a community level. Look, I mean, this is really, you know, let's not get it twisted here. This is not very many people have kicked this off and organised this and made this happen and have spread it to a level where people can carry it forward and people can lift it together and, you know, and move it forward. And so for me, I just think the example of that, of course it's a brilliant thing, so let's not think that you can just take any old idea or any old thing and do that. But it does show that people in this community, when we're focused and committed, there's nothing really that we can't do. We can do these things. We can make these amazing things happen.
And do you think that what we are doing in this community, other communities across the country and the world can learn? Like you said, that Grenfell is being done by a few amount of people. Do you think other communities where they think they can't, do you think they could look at us and say, maybe we can?
Well, yeah, because I mean, well, yes and no. I mean, because I think for a start, there are communities out there doing amazing things. Full stop. You know, Ladbroke Grove is a special place without a doubt, but I wouldn't put it in some kind of spot that others just can't reach or can't attain or anything like that. It's nothing like that. I think that's a dangerous kind of way to go. You know, it's like saying, well, you're a superhuman. You know, it's like this whole thing. I've never agreed with this idea that Usain Bolt is superhuman. No, he's a human. Let's not start creating these super individuals that suddenly mean the rest of us are just, oh, we can't be that, we can't. That's no. For me, that doesn't make sense. You know, and we're not a super community here. We're a community, and we care for each other like many other communities. If it can be an example, one of many, I think, then yeah, definitely. But it is one of many. Don't ever get that twisted. It is one of many examples, and the key, to my mind, is joining the dots between all those examples and understanding that these things can be done in many different ways. And yes, there is a small core group who have put a lot of time and effort into pushing this, but we're doing it because we have the strength from our community. Because we have people who for many years have said, thank you for what you're doing, we are there with you. You know, if it wasn't, I was slaving away at my office desk, you know, however many days a week I would be there with you. You know, you can't do things like this unless you have that solidarity and you have that kind of strength from your community and your family around you.
Okay. So far you have seen some fantastic people say some extraordinary words. Now, finally, we have come to a coordinator who has done things such as the Portobello Young Artist of the Year Award and many other things in the area. She is Christina Seeley.
Hello, JC.
Hello, Christina. So you have been taking a back seat so far since Grenfell happened. You haven't been coordinating, you have been helping to facilitate different projects.
Yeah.
What projects have you been working on so far?
When the fire happened, I was working at Latimer Community Church as a volunteer already, so I just joined in with the mass of volunteers that came together in the community arts group and community video group at the beginning, and just mucked in really and just did whatever needed to be done, from receiving resources and donations from kind people to helping to set up arts workshops and get resources, and helping out on Green for Grenfell, and just mucking in, getting things done, and helping all the brilliant people who just came out of nowhere to be working at quite a professional level to deliver great free services to all the young people in the area so they can express themselves through arts.
After listening and hearing all these different testimonies, speaking to all these wonderful people, wonderful lights from our community, what did it make you feel was necessary for them, and necessary for this community that have gone through this tragic event, that is necessary for the future?
Okay, before I was part of the team who were collecting testimonies, I had a strong anti-council or anti-authority reaction because of my past and my past wounds and my past history. And I felt like I brought my response into, like I had my own narrative. And then when I actually started recording testimonies of people who came out of that fire and reading the other testimonies that were written of people that came out of that fire, I realized that there are such a diverse ranges of responses, so much more complex than just political or anti-council. And I actually learned that this is not about, that we need to have a way of recording people's voices in layers, people who don't agree with each other. We need to have a way to present voices that disagree with each other to fully, I guess, exhibit the narrative that's come out of a diverse community. So, for example, some people were anti-council, but some people actually like gentrification.